तेरा कहो नानक सब तेरी वडियाई कोई नाਉ ना जाने मेरा दसां पातशाहियां दी आत्मिक जोत कलयुग के बोहित नाम के जहाज हलत पलत की रक्षा करने वाले धन 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 साहिब श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी महाराज आप जी ने अपार बख्शिश करके पातशाह साइबर संगत ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਫੇਰ ਹੁਕਮ ਫਰਮਾਇਆ ਹੈ ਇਕੱਤਰ ਹੋਣ ਦਾ ਆਪ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੁਕਮ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੁਰਮਤ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਸਨਾ ਤੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਆਪ ਕਰਵਾਓ ਜੀ ਸਹੀ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਮਿਲੋ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਚਿੱਤੇ ਆਵੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਭਾਣੇ ਸਰਬਤ ਕਾ ਭਲਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
Ji सारियां ਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ today we are going to start Pauri 8 of Japji Sahib suniai and I think I will first go to Sardar Ravel Singh ji if he can give us like in first 5 minutes a brief summary of the message in this Pauri and the little bit more explanation on the word suniai. So Sardar Ravel Singh ji. Sardar Ravel Singh, can you hear us? You are mute right now, Taj.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Thank you, Ji.
Achha, so this ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੰਜਵੀਂ ਪੌੜੀ ਸੀ ਥਾਪਿਆ ਨਾ ਜਾਏ ਕੀਤਾ ਨਾ ਹੋਏ ਸੋ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਗਾਵੀਏ ਸੁਣੀਏ ਮਨ ਰੱਖੀਏ ਪਾਓ ਦੁੱਖ ਪਰ ਹਰ ਸੁਖ ਹਲ ਲੈ ਜਾਏ so ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ steps ਹੈ these are the steps that have been given ਆਪ ਗਾਵੀਏ ਸੁਣੀਏ ਮਨੀਏ ਮਨ ਕੇ ਰੱਖੀਏ ਭਾਵ that is lovingly follow these things so ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ in the blog also I mentioned that ਕੀ ਸੁਣਨਾ ਹੈ what is it to be that is to be listened to what is it that we have to keep in mind and that question is that thing is norm क्योंकि ना सुनिए मन रहसी है जिस तरह के एक्सप्लेन किया है तो ये नाम जड़ा है what is नाम one thing that is not generally explained like this it's like this that when before the soul enters a cave takes birth into a body the Almighty makes it aware the purpose for which it is being sent to the world and there are the role that it is to play Gurbani can take a serious sandela in the tells everybody what is it that you're supposed to do so that is a thing that is to be kept in mind that is hukum and hukum है जड़ा है कि नाम एक हुक्म है नानक सतगुर दिया बुझाए जियो तो ये नानक जो नाम जड़ा है ये हुक्म भी है और नाम जड़ा है it is the virtues of the Almighty to understand what it is कि जिस वक्त इसी कहती है कि गाविए सुनिए मन रखिए भाव so this सुनना जो है how is to be listened to how are we to hear we are to hear in Sadh Sangat from our teachers from our inner classes and from the inner voice that is we have to atam ras jinu कहते हैं that is you have to one has to understand from our conscious from what goes on in between and quite often if we contemplate it comes to our mind in any given situation as to what is it that one should be doing. So जिस वक्त ये चीज़ की जाती है when this is done in that case one gets an awareness of what is the right path, what is the thing that we are supposed to do. So that I think should be enough for the introduction. That we are on the 8th Pauri is Suniai Surnas, but the meanings will come later. But is that we have to listen to Gurbani. We have to listen. That is our Guru. We have to listen to our inner voice, and that inner voice can be awakened also with the Guru's guidance. Then we come to know as to what Naam is and follow Naam.
Thank you, Ji. Next, we can go to Ekam Kaur Ji. I know you mentioned that, like Guru Nanak Dev Ji specifically gave 4 Pauri to suniai. So if you can give your a brief summary on like importance of suniai.
Gee, thank you. Yes, I appreciated listening to the comments already made. I feel a lot of resonance with that, what was already said. So for me, the Sunia and Monday Pauris make up 20% of Japji, and so this is, the actual practice of, what Gurbani trains us to do, and that through Sunia, through deep listening, everything can be known, so that we have a sensitivity within us, and doing Gurbani and meditating in the Amrit Vela awakens that sensitivity, and then we develop the capacity to listen very deeply, and everything can be known to us, just through the act of listening. And also, I think this 8th Pauri starts to set the foundation for the science of Nod, which is that, even the earth and the ethers, that everything is vibrating, that there's a vibration behind creation, and that the universe is moving because all of the things are vibrating and listening to each other and moving in this cosmic, dance of harmony. So the human being has the chance to develop themselves that same way by learning how to listen deeply and being able to experience the vibration of things. We can move, as was so beautifully said, according to Hukam, we can just take part in that cosmic harmony. I won't go into the individual lines. That's just a little bit of an overview, if that's what you were looking for.
Thank you very much. That was great. Next, we can go to Sardar Avtar Singh ji. If you can give your brief introduction on Suniai.
Thank you very much. Somehow or the other, I am going to limit towards the contextual component of the Pauri that we are discussing. And in that regard, Suniai is the word that Guruji have used with very significant value attached to it. It is one of the most important concept that is practiced by the yogis, and we should not sort of ignore that throughout. In the previous Pauris, Guruji has referred to the yogic manners and the prevailing religious rituals and the other maneuvers for achieving some kind of spirituality or reaching God. And this is one of the concepts that the yogic people advise, that you can hear without the ears. So for us to understand, even Guru Angad Dev Ji has written a Shabad in Guru Granth Sahib, where he says, ਅੱਖੀ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਵੇਖਣਾ ਵਿਣ ਕੰਨਾਂ ਸੁਣਨਾ ਪੈਰਾਂ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਵਿਣ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਜੀਭੇ ਬਾਝੋਂ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਇਉਂ ਜੀਵਤ ਮਰਨਾ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੁਕਮ ਪਛਾਣ ਕੇ ਤੋ ਖਸਮੇ ਮਿਲਣਾ. And if we understand the function of hearing and listening, there is a big difference. It is all part of the sensory organs that we have: the ears, eyes, mouth, tongue, and the other sensory organs. These are all just receptive organs. They are not the ones that interpret or give the information to the conscious. It's the consciousness that develops further into what is being received in those very sense organs. So ears are just the receptive organs. It's a passive mechanism for them to hear. Listening is all dependent upon the consciousness, not on the hearing. And that is a big difference between hearing being the passive and listening being the active part of the whole mechanism. So for listening is important, and that's what Guruji is using this word suniai and suniai. And these are the words that Guruji is specifically using in Gurbani to emphasize that how important it is for the active indulgence into the listening mechanism. And that is what is causing the consciousness to develop into further progress, where one can reach and achieve the spirituality to the extent that the following people have achieved, which Guruji lists as their names in Suniai Pauri. The rest we will discuss as we go along.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Dilpit Viji, you want to extend something on it?
I think everything has been said very nicely. The way I look at this body is that Guruji is saying that there was a prevailing belief that everybody wanted to achieve Siddhi, or everybody wanted to be a Devta and achieve that way, the thing. But Guruji is saying that by active listening, or I think it is all this Naam, Suniye and Gaviye, these things are used for the similar meaning, because what Guruji is saying that once by this active listening, we will understand, we will get Siddhi, we will become Devte, and Suniye Tart Taval Akash, that we will understand that the belief which was there, which was prevailing, that this earth is supported by a ox, and when he changes it, then the Puchal and other things come. So all those things will become clear, and we will know Suniya Deep Lo Patal, that he, the creator, is prevailing everywhere and he is supporting this. So the way I see this is that we will learn something, and then it is Suniya means that Naam which Surat Jodan Naad, or we have to understand what Naam is, and that raises the question that what is Naam and how Naam will make us aware of all these things. That is where I think Guru Nanak's definition of Naam is very important, that by the understanding of Naam, what we understand and how we get this Gyan. Otherwise, this Suniye and meditation, reciting one word or repeating, which was prevailing there, I don't personally believe that Guru Nanak is pushing us into that corner.
ठीक है जी, thank you जी. I think we will come in more detail on this one. I think Jaswant Singh ji also joined us. Jaswant Singh ji, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
ठीक है. Can you give us a little bit, I think, in summary, some detail about this Shabad Suniye?
Okay, so first of all, I think we need to be very clear on this, that whenever we look at any Sanja, any Shabad, we need to find out its key message. What's the theme over there? Because if we miss out that and we try to look at other words, then maybe that we are not really able to grasp the message of that word. So for that clarification, I would like to suggest that all these four paudiyan we are going to look at, beginning from number 8 to 11, which we commonly call suniai wadiyan paudiyan. So their key point and the whole theme is blessings or benefits or rewards or achievements of listening. So the whole focus is going to be how this listening can impact on our lives. Number one. Number two is the key word is here suniai again, and that is being repeated and is going to be repeated in each line. We need to look at what's that. What is its literal meaning first of all? Is it asking, it's like to listen, or is it saying that something else? So looking at its form of the word that is being used, you can see sune, nanenu sihari, and eda with dulama. So this is a very, very beautiful and a very common term or word used throughout Gurbani. For example, other words can be seve, jappe, kahe, gaya, and there can be all those words with a similar form, right? And in all those places, the meaning of this word, when it has nanenu sehari, I mean the second letter has hari and the last one has dulama a. So it becomes a case in grammar which we call is like instrumental case, and that is for sure. It can never change its meaning. So in English, it becomes simply through listening or by listening. Number three. So this is its meaning, very simple. It cannot be go and listen to, or they are listening, or all those things. No. It's simply that this is what's going to be achieved, or this is what's going to be happen by listening to. So now the question is, what is being said to listen to here? Sunna kiya. I think, and I'm fully convinced with that we need to find out the Japji maybe. Is there any hint? And you will be, I think, already aware of that if you just back to the Pauri 6, Irathanama, Getaspama, and there you find a beautiful talk which tells us the whole, the meaning of this, that what this Suniai is Guruji, indicating to. So in its third line, it is Mat vich ratan jawahar manik je ek gur ki sikh suni. So this is what this suniai is. Gur ki sikh, and sikh means teaching. So it's very simple that by listening to, and this listening, as Paji has already said, listening is not, of course, hearing, and listening is attentive listening with reflection on that. That whatever you are listening to, you have to reflect upon that, and you have to then apply. So this is what it includes. So in that sense, that listening to the Guru's teachings, you can have endless blessings, achievements, and all those achievements, whether they are worldly, whether they are spiritual, whether they are even mythical, we'll see that they are some mythical references. Because Guru just want to tell the audience or the disciples or the saints, don't worry about other things, don't look at other people, what they have been doing. If only you can focus and concentrate and listen to the Guru's teaching properly, understand it, and can follow in your life, you can achieve all those sometimes so-called benefits or blessings that people used to believe or that people used to claim they had. So I think in this perspective, in this context, we have to see all these four paudiyan. Sune, Siddh, Peer, Surnath. The claims that these people made, or maybe whatever the success or accomplishment these people had, Guruji said, don't worry about that. Just by listening to the Guru's teachings and following in your life, you are going to achieve those things naturally in that sense. You don't need to go and follow their path. Further, of course, Sune, Tar, Taval, Akash, Virji had very beautifully explained that's true, whether it is a mythical bull or whatever, that you will understand that. And deep below Patal is also further that Vaheguru dwells and deep pervades through and through. You will realize that. And lastly, Pohana Saka Kal. Kal literally is Yama. Kal literally is the angel of death, but its meaning actually in Gurbani always is the fear of death that people have in their minds. You will overcome that. That fear will not afflict your mind. And this is where it is going to make Nanak Bhagata Sada Vigas. Sune Dukh Paapta. Hanji. Ji?
Anji, thank you very much. Sorry, I was trying to connect someone. Next, we can go to Charan Singh Ji. Charan Singh Ji, if you can give your perspective, or otherwise, if you have any questions for any previous participants, you can also ask that too.
Yeah, I would request all the panel members, whenever they get chance. I am still struggling with two issues in this body. One, I got disconnected, so I couldn't hear what Jaswant has specifically mentioned about the Sihari and Bihari. I'm deeply concerned by the spellings of these suniai and sunai. That's one point, and I have requested more clarification from panel members on the blog also. So Jaswant and others, if you could please visit the blog and explain it a little bit more. Two, I'm here raising another question, which was the second part of my request. In fifth Pauri, we said that Guru Isar Gur Gorakh Burma Gur Parvati Mai. Does it apply when we say Suniye Isar Burma Ind? Does it mean that we probably have to listen to the Guru or not? Or what's the implication? That's how I'm still undecided. So I am more in a listening mode today. So I'll appreciate your comments on it. Thanks. Am I lost again?
No, we are able to hear you.
Okay.
And someone wants to.
Hanji, I think what Viji have asked about the words Sunai and Sunai, I've already clarified. So if you ask about the word Sunai, that is Sasenu Ankar Nane Nu Do Lama. Sunai. So Sunai becomes in English one who listens in that sense. It's like when we say he listens. Uthe Gurbani Chauga Do Sunai. Right? That becomes one who listens. But the word here is Suniai, Ranenu Sehari and Adenu Lama. This is always and throughout in the Gurbani, always means by listening to.
Okay.
And I think I've already spoken about that what is being asked to listen to is very simply going back to the Pauri number 6.
Yes.
Gurki Sikh Suni. So that Gurki Sikh is being, advised here to listen to, and that too listening is attentive listening. Whereby not just you listen to it, you contemplate upon it. You try to grasp the meaning and then apply that meaning into your life. And what Aji has asked about the Pauri number 9, Sunaya Ishar Brahma, maybe we will discuss that Pauri later on. Maybe it's better we can just first focus on this Pauri number 8 first.
Okay, thank you, Ji. Is that answer your Charan Singh Ji?
Yeah, but I think the Suniya part of this body, the foundation of, like, I agree that it is the Guru Ki Mat, right? The Pauri 6 ending concluding part is also Guru Ki Mat, right? But at the same time, the Sune, the one who is listening, right? I think I'm drawing some words from you. The one who is listening is the Guru itself. Rare nu ankad wala jada Guru Maharaj ne distinguish kita. It seems to me that there is some, that's how I address this question right here, because the Pauri has a meaning into listening to the Guru. And I think Ravel Singh ji has mentioned that it is the soul, and probably it is the soul we need to listen to. That's how I'm thinking, but I would appreciate connecting these dots. Thanks.
Ekonkarji, can you provide some feedback?
Sure. I actually don't really look at the Pauri or Suniya as, Suniya Nam or Suniya Guru. I don't think that's what it's talking about, honestly. And I think it's just talking about the really simple, basic human psychology of listening to ourselves. And, I don't know if I brought this example up before, but whenever I teach about these Pauris, I'll say, okay, how many of you have been in a situation where something inside of you told you to do something and you didn't listen and you regretted it afterwards? And it's such a universal human experience. Everybody in the room raises their hand. And even when I was teaching in a school once, there was a 7-year-old girl who raised her hand and said, yeah, God, I know, I didn't listen to myself. And I think we make a mistake by trying to talk about Sunya as needing an object like Nam or the Shabad or Gurbani. It's just that you're a human being and everything you need to know is in you if you just listen and trust yourself and develop that sensitivity. And all these practices we do when we meditate in the Amrit Vela and we chant Gurbani are to open up that capacity to have this very direct perception and sensitivity to just know because it's in us to know. So I really kind of take it more down that road than that we're listening to something. We're just in the state of this human gift of listening and knowing because it's part of human consciousness that we can do that. So those are my thoughts on it.
Thank you, Ji. I think Ajay Singh Ji also joined us. So I think we are discussing the word Suniye and what that actually means. Suniye means Sunna Naam, Sunna Guru Di Mat, yeah, Sunna as just Ekankar Ji described. So if you can give your feedback on what's the... Yeah.
Of course, I've joined in the middle. I'm not likely to be neither here nor there. And I just heard Ekankar. But why can't one take a broader meaning? In other words, listen to the voice within you, as you said, and I'm all for it. Listen also to the teaching of the Guru, to the Naam, to that. In other words, pay attention, listen within and without, and that'll give you what you're looking for. It'll elevate you. So why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't be both?
Okay, Ji. Thank you, Ji. I think if everyone agrees, can we, I think, go with just for Pauri 8 line by line and then keep coming back to this word as we learn more and then try to see what are the possible options we can make of this word. Do we have any volunteer who can just at least for Pauri 8 can translate line by line and then we go into the deeper meaning? Ravel Singh?
May I suggest that maybe we just go just one line, line by line, just first look at the first line and then we move on to the second?
Sure, Ji, bilkul, definitely. Would you be able to do the first line, Jaswant Singh Ji?
I think, yeah, okay. To me, it's very simple and very clear that the 46, of course, I think there's no problem to agree with what Paji Ajay Singh has said. But to me, again, it reminds me that Guruji has already given a very practical and very simple hint in the 40 number 6, Matvit Ratan Jawahar Manik. That's what I think we are all looking for. That somehow, how can we find those kind of divinity and divine values and virtues in our lives, which Guruji have metaphorically expressed there as, Matvit Ratan Jawahar and Manik. So he himself has guided us that it's only through and it's through Gur ki ek sakh suni, that if you can attentively listen to the Guru's teaching. So to me, it's simply that by listening to the Guru's teaching, attentively reflecting on it. And now what happens? So I mean, in a broader sense, you have to look at all these four Paudiya are going to tell us, I mean, whatever people believed in their minds, or on the other hand, some people claimed so that they have all those blessings, they have all those, you can say, somehow occult powers kind of things. So Guruji is, very beautifully is going to explain whether those are worldly things, whether those are spiritual things, whether those are even some mythical beliefs. So here Guruji is dealing with three people. One is Siddha, second is Peer, and third is Sornath. Some people have tried to mean it Sor different and Nath different. Sor means Devi and Nath means, of course, the yogis. But it seems to me, and most of others said, the Sornath is one word. Sor is like supreme. Sor is like, you can say, the Apane Shromani, or a superior of them. In that sense, it is like the Siddhas. And Siddhas were the people like accomplished yogis, you call them. Those who at least claim that they have those kind of success and accomplishment in their lives. And Peer refers to in the same manner to the Islamic people, those who had those kind of achievements in their lives. And Sornath, Nath is again a name for master yogi. Yogis, those who are treated as masters. So Sornath is Shromani Nath. So Yogiyan de Shromani Nath keh lo, Peer keh lo, and Siddhas keh lo. And in the Guru's period, these people really had a lot of impact and somehow some fear in ordinary people's mind. That people were in some sense, compelled to follow them, to listen to them, and were, afraid of their, curses and wounds and so on. So Guruji wants to here clarify that, I mean, if you think that those guys have something very special, so this is how you can also achieve that. You don't need to go and follow them and be afraid from them and so on. So he comes with this beautiful book, Suniai, Siddha, Peer, Sornath, the achievements that these people had. Or again, I would like to say that at least they claimed that they had. You can achieve those achievements and blessings by listening to the Guru.
ठीक है जी. Thank you, ji. So I think when you say listening to, I think I am going back to the first discussion. Are you saying following the Guru's hukam, or praying, like how someone can achieve all these things? Like, because if you see like what Siddh used to do, they have a criteria that they follow some path to achieve that thing, and say with Peer and Nath. So like, so are we saying that we will achieve all those attributes by just listening to them, or by following the Guru's hukam?
I mean, it's all right, but again, I would like to go back to the Guru Gurbani, jo Semi Pauri keh na, Gur ki Sikh, Guru's teaching. So in very general sense, they become the Gurbani, right? So in today's context, we can say the Guru Granth Sahib's teachings. So Guru Granth Sahib diyan jo teachings ne, they are teachings of the Guru. So that's what the Guru's Sikh is. If you listen to this Guru's Bani, listening is again not just hearing, attentive listening, understanding those teachings. So there is so much wisdom, enlightenment over there, and so much values and so much beautiful ways expressed in those teachings, that if you can just follow those in your life, you will naturally achieve all those achievements and blessings that these people used to claim that they have achieved.
Thank you, ji. Next we can go to Dilpreet Veer ji. Dilpreet Veer ji, on this line, Suniye Sid Peer Surnath. And do you also agree that Surnath is one word and not two words?
I think it is one word, and I would like to add more to it what Dr. Jaswant Singh said. Our Asaji Diwar also starts with a similar Salok, it's the Salok Mahalla Pehla, it says Balihari Gur Apne, Devhadi Sadwar, Jin Manas te Devte Kiye, Karat na lagi war. So again it is saying there that Guru can make us Devte from Manas, and this is, or this body is also giving a similar message that by Suniye we can attain that place. So again, it is by listening Guru's teaching and practicing them and reflecting Guru's teaching in our life will change our characteristics, and going back to our Mool Mantar, that those are the guns which will be cultivated in us once we start reflecting or practicing Guru's teaching, because without practicing there is no way out in Sikhi.
ठीक है, thank you जी. एक ओंकार जी. एक ओंकार जी.
Ji Sana. I don't know that I have much else to add to what's been said, but when I look at this particular line, again, I go back to this idea that we have an innate ability to know, and so that the people who become siddhas or become, the teachers or become the masters, they do it because they've perfected their ability to listen and know, directly, that just to hear it. They just listen and they know, and that's what allows them to become those elevated personalities. So that's the perspective I have to share.
Thank you, Ji. Yeah, so I think I was listening and I thinking about it, and then so what I feel is that Guru Nanak Dev Ji wanted us to be something special. They were giving us the message that there's no difference between us and Vaheguru. So why, like even Siddh, Peer, Surnath, so how like like gaining that thing is important for a Sikh, like when our main goal is to become one with Vaheguru, who is above all this anyhow. So if we can give some thought on that over also. So next I will go to Sardar Ravel Singh ji. Sardar Ravel Singh ji, you are mute right now.
Ji, Asraji, I think I have a submission that when we are studying Gurbani, we should try it and see it in the simplest possible manner, rather than trying to say that there's something else and some deeper meanings in Gurbani. There's no doubt about it. But when we talk about suniai, it should be just listening. And what is it that can be achieved by listening is Gurbani keeps says all over. So ये जड़ी चीज़ जड़ी हैगी है सुनते बनीत कैसे पवित्र सतगुरु रहे या भरपूरे यानी कि सुनने वाला जड़ा है he's got a higher grade, higher status than the one who is talking. So this is the first thing. Second thing that the question was raised was suniai or suniye. I'm sorry, I was not asked and therefore did not talk. Suniai means by listening. Suniye means let us listen. Suniye, and suniye is by listening. That is, when we listen, we achieve this. This is what happens. Now, what does suniye mean? Suniye means is that we have to be receptive to all these sources from which we are trying to hear, from which are trying to teach us. From where we can learn, not they are trying to teach us, from where we can learn. So that is an aspect which is to be remembered. Second aspect that is to be remembered is a very beautiful thing that was just now said about the Balihari Guru Apne Jo Hari Sadwar Jo Manas Te Jetse Kiye Katna Lagi War. A Guruji mere hai Guruji. This is the Guru's powers that but how is that achieved? Is by Sune Siddh Peer Surnath Sune Savle Akas. And if you go to the आगे जाके when we go to the next part, we will find that कि सुने मुख सलाहन मंद, that is जेडे मंदे आदमी है ना, वो भी they also start praising the Almighty. So what it means is this, that whatever that cannot be achieved by reading the books, whatever that can be achieved by just sitting in and contemplating, can be found and achieved by listening. And that is why so much of emphasis in Gurbani on Sadh Sangat and going there and trying to learn and gain the information from there. So therefore, please, let us keep it simple. Sunaya means listening, and any other deeper meaning that comes is a sequel to that. But the basic issue is that we have to listen, and let's keep listening. Now coming to the 8th Pauri, Sunaya Siddh Peer Surnath. I'm surprised to find that somebody suggested that Surnath is one word. Please understand that there is also a Peer in it. There is Siddh also in it, and Nath also in it. So how can it be? Sur is quite a number of times in Gurbani, this Surnar, Munjani Ahmad Khoj Gurbani, Surnar. Sur is Devata, Sur is God, the demigod, and Nar is man or person or a human being. So we should understand that it's saying is that by listening to the teachings, one achieves what the other people think that they have to go through so much of rituals, so much of austerities, and so much of hardships to learn and understand. This particular thing these things can be learned by listening to the Guru's teachings. So Siddh are these people who are they are the ones who have achieved something. These are the Siddhas, and the Siddh in Gurbani, Siddh is also being used for the yogis from the fact that Siddh Gosit, for example, the Guru Nanak Sahib's conversation with the yogis has been named, that composition is named as Siddh Gosit. So these are the people who are the accomplished saints who have accomplished something, and Siddhi means a person who has got occult powers or the clairvoyance, that who can perform miracles. So Gurbani does not endorse that. All these names that are being mentioned, said the Peer. Peer is the Muslim word for Guru. So said Peer, Sur, Nath. Sur is the people who become like Devatas, who become like gods. Nath is the head of the Nath yogis, that is Gorakhnath. So that is, one can become this, that status, that understanding can come in if we listen and we are receptive to what is being told to us.
Thank you, Ji. Next, we can go to Avtar Singh Ji on this line. Suniye Siddh Peer Surnath.
Hanji, I think we are forgetting that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is mentioning this with the concept that we have to understand that he has mentioned that Akal Purkh is prevalent in every aspect of the creation. And the word Sunaya here is being referred to the rest of the creation as such, including the human beings that are exalted people. And in that respect, Guruji is mentioning to start with Sunaya Siddh Peer Surnath. First of all, let me clarify that a little bit. Sur and Nath is not one word here. It is two words. Sur means heroic people, heroes, the brave people. And Nath is the accomplished yogic person. The Guruji is mentioning about this Sunaya Siddh Peer Surnath, that all these people, the Siddhas, the Peers, the Surs, and the Naths, They are all exalted people because of listening to the cosmic sounds or cosmic value or the cosmic virtues of the Akal Purkh. And they all have listened to that, and they are listening to that because that very understanding, this is the concept, that these people have listened to the cosmic virtues of the Akal Purkh. Because in the next lines, if we go for that very reason for saying that these are the human beings that Guruji is talking about, but in the next few lines, Guruji is talking about the possibility of earth and skies and everything else that is in the creation, with time and without time. Ponasakekal. That is also being mentioned here. But if we keep the theme of the Pauri in mind, that is, that the devotees are forever in bliss, because by listening to the Akal Purkh's word, they do not get indulged into the worldly sufferings, or the worldly sufferings do not affect them. Here Guruji is talking about that by listening to the cosmic virtues of the Akal Purkh. By keeping that in mind, this is my understanding of the sentence that Guruji have used, Suniai Siddh Peer Surnath. Thank you, Ji.
Thank you very much, Ji. Good perspective. Next, we can go to ISA.
Well, I think all the points have been covered pretty much. I would take again a broader meaning of suniai. It's not just listening with your ears. It's really saying, open up your faculties, listen to those who have achieved something, who are better than you. See what the creation has to teach you as well. And listening and being open to those, I shouldn't even use the word listening, being open to that input from within and without, and then following it, integrating that in your life, maniya, which will come, that will transform you. So it's a way to transform. I don't think one should be looking literally at Surnath Kwanit, what kind of better people we're talking about, what qualifications. That's not the issue. Be open to the creation within and without, and that will transform you into a better human being. I think that's, to me, the essence of the Pauris. These as well as the four next one on maniya.
Thank you, Ji. Charan Singh Ji, I think you're the last one in this round, and you heard to Jaswant Singh Ji and Ravil Singh Ji. So, your perspective on what you listened so far?
I think to all of us, I would raise this question: can we become anything without listening? So, listening, if without listening, there's nothing. I am speaking because I have heard it before. I have listened it before earlier. I'm not going into distinction of hearing and listening also. But the point is, let's say if we are talking about people as Siddha or Siddh Peer Surnath, then by listening, I could be a doctor in today's perspective. I could be a lawyer. I could be a salesperson. I could be an engineer. I could be a peon. I could be anything. So point is, the human has originated only by listening. And similarly, if I would not have heard about what earth is, what other universe is, if I would not have heard about them, do you think I would have been able to have an experience of that? Probably not. Have I heard them? Yes, just through the language or through their connectivity. Once I hear them through the language, then I can connect with them. If I have not heard them, that's how important it is that listening is much more profound, that we are trying to compare it with the accomplished people or non-accomplished people in our day-to-day life. If I'm not listening, I'm nothing, period, right? And if I have not heard, I cannot become anything. So my take is, I think I appreciate the clarity. The sunai and suniai, like when it is suniai, it is all the resources from the outside, and when it is sunai with sihari, my take is that it is probably indicative of the guru, which we will come later on. But that guru is the siddh, that guru is the only peer, that guru is the only nath, and that guru is the nath of that sur that resonates in us, in all of us, in the entire creation. That's all. And once we start hearing to that, from there originates a human, from there originates the virtues which we acquire as humans by listening. Thank you.
Any questions so far? Okay, Jaswant Singh ji, can you give for next line? I think we have to cover some basic thing. We have to come back to this again and again, whether we have to go deep meaning of listening or keep at the just simple listening level. So we will keep coming back to this question during these 4 bodies.
Yeah. So I think the next 2 lines we can take together. So they are saying suniai again, that by listening, and I think whatever everyone has said, that makes sense. That suniai or listening is not confined to one particular thing, but still, I mean, this begins with that. This is where you begin with listening to the Guru's teaching, Gurbani, and this just reminds me of another book from Anand Sahib that Paji Ravir Singh, I think, also tried to mention. So this is there in the last body, Dukh, Rog, Santap, Utre, Sni, Sachi Bani. So I mean, this is references, of course, to listening to Guru's Bani, Guru's teachings, and so on. But this is further to open up, to make yourself receptive and listening whatever you have better things to listen to in the creation. And also, to me, this includes in modern context, it includes reading as well. In that sense, it's like this is where you receive understanding, knowledge, and wisdom, and you can achieve the things that these people were believed to have achieved, Saurapir, Siddhapir, Surnath, and so on. So I mean, in modern context, the reading is included there. That it is through reading, it is through listening to, and of course, it is through reflection, and then applying those things in your mind, in your life. Okay, so next 2 lines are Sunay, Tarat, Taval, Akash. Tarat is earth literally. Taval is a mythical bull which was believed to support the earth, which we will see later in the body number 16. Tall, Taram, Daya Kaput, and Akash literally is skies, ethers, you can say. So, and the next one is Sunay, Deep, Lo, Patal. So again, I think some of panel members have suggested that very good, that we need not to go to each single word, the what really they mean and so on, because the context here is, of course, that by listening and through this listening, you can understand. And here, in these 2 lines, what most of our people have said about, and the scholars have interpreted it, and I think I'm in agreement with that, that Guru di Sikhya nu, Gurbani nu, Guru di teachings nu sun ke sunan naal, you can understand that what is the support of Tarat, Taval, Akash, and you can understand that it's Vaheguru's creative power, Vaheguru's creative all-pervading power, which supports everything and which pervades everything, whether it is Tarat, Taval, Akash, whether it is deep, low, patal, or what.
Thank you, Ji. I think before we go over these 2 lines, I think we have one question from the Sangat, and that is that when we say that Vaheguru is everywhere in the creation and it is within all of us. And sometimes we see that when we do kirtan or part, we are somehow do attentive listening. But when we in our daily life listen to in our businesses, offices, or talking, we sometimes ignore or trying to just be with ourselves and just do passive listening. Is that also kind of like here it a message is that we should be always attentive listening, and whenever we listen in our daily life, not only doing following the guru's part or kirtan, but even as a general, when we spend 24 hours a day, that whenever we listen we should be attentive, and we never know where we will learn something good. So if someone like if we can take that one round on that question, and we will again start with Dilpreet Singh ji.
Veer ji,
हाँ जी अवतार सिंह जी.
active listening is more of significance, and I call it as effective listening. And as I mentioned earlier, that hearing and listening are two different things. It's not the same thing. Dr. Inderjit Singh ji can expand on that. And unless we have effective listening, for example, if you are listening, if you are hearing so many things in life, because of our indulgence in the daily life chores from all aspects, we do not pay mind to no more than, we do not listen to no more than 0.5% of the things in our daily life. Only very few things that we ever listen and pay mind to. And that is, listening becomes important because it has to be interpreted by the brain with the consciousness that has been developed to understand what that very subject or that very object or that very thing means to us. That becomes listening. Unless that is there, we are just hearing things and not listening. And the word that Guruji has used, suniai, is translated as listening.
Thank
Is
you.
that good enough?
Anji, very good. I just wanted to make sure I take.
I think Dr. Inderjit Singh ji can expand further on that.
Anji, Ajay Singh ji.
Let me try anyway. Let me take a broader meaning of listening. I think when it says listening here, it doesn't mean listen with your ears. You know, this says suniai, this suniai, oh my mind, listen to me, oh my mind, hear me. Huh? The mind doesn't have any ears to listen by. What we are saying is pay attention. Now listening is, or the ears are not the only way we get sensory input, that we learn or pay attention to things. Many other ways too, even seeing. Is that any less important? No, I think it's included. This is poetry we are talking about. So when it says listen to me or listening, what it's really saying is pay attention in the many ways that humans can pay attention.
Thank you very much, ji. I think getting close to time. Ikonkar ji.
Thank you, Ji. In terms of what the Sangat is asking, yes is the answer to, that it's important that what we do in Amrit Vela and the sadhana is to develop skills that we carry through our entire day. So, so the practice of doing kirtan or chanting, in Amrit Vela opens up our ability to listen deeply and hear on many levels, as Ajay Singh, to pay attention on, many levels. And then we take that into our daily life in every moment, which leads to the last line of the Pauri, suniai duk pap kanas, that
right.
when we're in a state of that listening, we actually can, destroy and get rid of the things that cause us suffering and pain. So it's a whole life skill, and it's a whole life reality, although it's not necessarily easy to practice it that way.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Dilpitvi ji?
The question has been asked, I think, in the context of Kirtan now. So, if I don't understand what is being said in the Kirtan, I may be wrong, but I believe then that Kirtan is not going to make any impact or any change on me. So, here the listening means is also understanding what is being said so that I can work on it or I can take a lesson from it. So if we are listening to the Kirtan, if we don't understand it or we don't understand the message, because the whole Gurbani started with Kiv Sachiara Hoya, Kiv Kuda Tutte Pal. So if in every Shabad, every Pauri, it is teaching us how to become Sachiara and how to break that wall. So that teaching is there, and then if I am not understanding what is being sung in the Kirtan, so more important thing is that listening and then understanding, and that understanding will make me judge where I stand in my life, and that will tell me that what needs to be changed, then only the change will come.
Thank you, ji. Jaswant Singh ji, 30 seconds.
I think what Paji had just now said is it makes total sense, yeah. And it cannot be really hearing or just listening without understanding. So, and I think most of us have already said about that. This is attentive listening, or you call it effective listening. This includes reading, and this includes all other methods of receiving input. But it has to be understood. It has to be reflected upon. It has to be applied in your life. That's where the whole listening sort of thing is accomplished.
Thank you, ji. Ravel Singh ji. We can hear you.
I think the various points on this have been covered. The point of view, I again wish to just submit this one thing that we should, quite often it happens, doesn't it, that we reading the books, we are doing everything else, but during conversation, during listening to people, one comes to the understanding that one gets is much easier. That's why the classes are held in schools and colleges. Gurbani also says that जब तक दुनिया रही है नानक कुछ सुनिए कुछ कहिए. So जब तक as long as we are in this world, as long as we are alive, we have to listen and then talk. That is, first understand and then talk. Another issue was raised just now that am I understanding Gurbani? Am I understanding what is being said? A very valid point. But I think it should be acknowledged that in the context in which we are talking, or what Guru Sahib is saying, that is Suniai Siddhi Surnas and all that follows, is that paying attention and understanding is inherent to it. If somebody is saying, this is what you have to do, have you understood? Yes. So that understanding does not come without listening. So he first has to listen and then understand, and then carry on and comply with it, what has been told.
Thank you, ji. Char Singh, which is last final comments on this thing?
See, my take is that when we use the word suniai with the sihari on nane and gulama on eda, it is the external source. So we may do attentive listening in the external source. We may qualify, become a doctor, become a teacher, become anything. All these things can be accomplished. However, in this body there is a Sihari or Nana, and that specifically signifies the listening of the internal rhythms, the internal spark, the internal jot. Unless until we are clear about that, we cannot match that. Because doing all those things, suniye in the external environment, in our day-to-day living, we can accomplish with the attentiveness. But unless until we pay attention what's going on in my laboratory, in my sareer, in my body, and how it is happening, paying to that, honing our listening skill to that extent that we know the Nam's presence inside, I think that makes the difference to me. The rest everything is we are doing in our day-to-day life. And when we listen to the Nam inside, then our outer and external day-to-day living becomes more focused as well, more accomplishable as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ji. And I think we will definitely continue on this body and next three bodies of Suniye in coming few weeks. And thanks a lot, everyone, for joining today. And I think unless someone have any comments, we can close the discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ji.
Thank
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Vai Khalsa, Vai Fateh ji.